Something happened to me when I was 9 years old, and it changed my whole life. But let me tell you about my childhood. I grew up in a very musical family from my mother's side. It was normal for us to have musical instruments in our homes. Each one of our families, my mother's siblings, had a piano, guitars, banjos, you know. And we used to get together, a family get-togethers with music all the time. I grew up in an environment of music. And we didn't have much money, but I remember we had a brand new Hofmann piano. Every time I opened the lid, I could smell those keys. Beautiful. It still stays with me today. My mother had the most beautiful alto voice, and my uncle, tenor. They used to sing together at our get-togethers. My cousin, who was 3 years older than me, she was 12 at that stage. She used to play the piano, and I used to admire her so much. Every time I go and visit them, I would stand next to the piano and she would play my favorite songs. And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be able to read the sheet music and play. So one day, I asked my mother if she would send me for piano lessons. And one day I got home and she gave me the address of a woman who was willing to give me piano lessons. Now, those days, we didn't have cars to drive us around. We walked where we wanted to be. And that woman lived about 2 to 3 miles away from us. And that's quite a long way for a 9-year-old. But I was in 7th heaven, because now I could learn how to play the piano. I used to sit in front of the piano playing, pretend that I could play and read the music. I even turned the pages. Sometimes, you know, my friends thought I was wonderful. So when I got to this woman's house, she asked me if I could play something. I said, well, only chopsticks, you know. So she wrote down a few notes and she played this melody. It was the most beautiful melody. And she showed me where the keys were, and gave me this piece to practice for the following week. I could not wait. I practiced and practiced every day till I perfected this piece. And I was so chuffed with myself, because now I could read that piece of music and play, you know. I could not wait for the following week to come for me to play this piece to this woman. So as I got to her house, I sat down and I played this piece. She didn't say a word. I was a little bit disappointed. I just went home. And when I got home, my mother called me one side and she said, this woman phoned and said, I mustn't come back next week because I didn't have talent. You know? So today I'm thinking, I wish I could have seen the disappointment on that 9-year-old's face. All I can remember about that specific day was that I thought, how could this woman say that? I played it perfectly. Since that day, I developed a belief system. I believed my mother. You know, a 9-year-old those days didn't have the ability to reason or reason with your mother even. I could not express my disappointment. It just went away. In fact, I buried that urge, that desire to play the piano so deep. The piano and the desire disappeared from my life. I can't even remember what happened to that piano. My mother never raised this issue again. Never. Not once in my whole life did she speak to me about it again. So since that disastrous day, I've built a wall around my disappointment. Every time I see somebody play a piano, it's a jealousy that dwelled up in me. And I put it in the back of my mind. Some people would say, Annette, why didn't you learn how to play a piano later on in your life? No, I didn't have the talent. I mean, it was gone. You know, why would I waste time on something that's not going to happen? Then, one day, my daughter and myself were sitting with friends of ours, and they were entertaining us with their beautiful voices, and my friend sat in front of the piano, and he guided them. I couldn't run away anymore. I had to sit and listen. That feeling came back to me after 50 years. And it opened up this flood of anger in me. And I realized at that moment that my mother had lied to me. I was so angry at my mother. It took years for me to forgive her. I didn't know that to have a talent, you had to have a talent to be able to read music and to be able to play the piano. So, I not only had to deal with my anger at that stage, I had to deal with a 9-year-old's anger as well. And then one day, a friend of mine, she's a music lecturer at the university, said to me, Annette, I'll teach you how to play piano. I said, no, I'm too old for that. You know, it's too late for me. She says, no, don't worry about that. You can't go back to those years. But where you are now, you can change the end. And you can still enjoy a little bit of that creation of music in your life. Now, all I want to say before I conclude my speech is mind the word that you speak in front of your child. It had such a big impact on my life, and it will have on your child's life. Thank you.
And there, everybody. Well done.